BBC News. Hello, I'm Tom Watts. There are growing concerns for the safety of people in Afghanistan who helped the NATO-led coalition after a document for the United Nations said the Taliban were hunting them down. The intelligence paper, which the BBC has seen, says the Taliban have lists of individuals. Particularly at risk are members of the military or police, as our security correspondent Frank Gardner explains.
They knew who they wanted to target, and they're now threatening those relatives, saying, hand them over, or else you'll get arrested and possibly killed. I'm sure this will be denied by the Taliban leadership, who want to present, it's in their interest to present an aspect of normality. They want people to stay in the country. They want to build it according to their own strictures. It's not in their interests. But the practicality is that these are the people who have been hunting down the Taliban, the Haqqani network, as well as Al-Qaeda for the last 20 years. Of course they're going to want to go after them.
The United States says it's flown 7,000 people out of the Afghan capital, Kabul, in the 5 days since the Taliban takeover, 2,000 in the last 24 hours alone. The situation at the airport in Kabul is still chaotic. Secunda Kamani is in the Afghan capital.
In large parts of Kabul, everyday life is resuming. There are these pockets of huge chaos, one of course being the airport. A massive crowd is still gathered outside the entrance there, many of them without any kind of visa, but still hoping somehow to be able to leave Afghanistan. The Taliban have been firing regularly into the air, beating the crowd back with sticks. And I'm told that most foreign nationals are being able to reach the airport safely, but the Taliban are at times preventing even those Afghans who have permission to board the evacuation flights from doing so.
The military in Mali says 11 soldiers have been killed during an ambush on a convoy in the central Mopti region. 9 other soldiers were seriously injured. Will Ross reports.
A Malian officer described the attackers as terrorists, a term frequently used to refer to the jihadist fighters linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group. A statement said the military convoy was first targeted with a car bomb, followed by heavy gunfire. The ambush was near Douentza, an area of the central Mopti region where attacks are common. It's nearly a decade now since jihadists took over much of the north of the country. Since then, the violence has spread to neighbouring nations, and Mali has been increasingly unstable, with 2 military coups in the last year.
The United Nations Secretary-General has again called for an immediate ceasefire in the Ethiopian region of Tigray, where government forces have been fighting Tigrayan separatists since November. Antonio Guterres described humanitarian conditions in Tigray as hellish and said aid agencies needed unrestricted access. World news from the BBC. The United States has imposed sanctions on 3 more Cuban officials in response to what it called the suppression of human rights by the island's communist government. The measures target 2 chiefs of the armed forces and a member of the Interior Ministry. Protests across the country last month led to the arrests of hundreds of opposition activists. The British government has confirmed that the UK will become the latest country to start a COVID vaccine booster programme. The Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, says it's likely to begin next month. He said the most vulnerable would be the first to receive a 3rd jab. Elsewhere, Israel has announced it will expand its booster vaccine scheme to everyone over the age of 40. Qatar says it's struck an agreement with the United Nations that will enable Qatari aid money to reach some of the poorest people in Gaza. The UN will channel $100 a month to tens of thousands of impoverished families. Analysts say the deal will strengthen a ceasefire between Israel and militants in the Gaza Strip. Delays in securing the agreement during months of negotiations had led to growing tension in Gaza. Former British Army Gurkha soldiers campaigning for changes to their pensions have called off their 13-day hunger strike outside the Prime Minister's residence after securing a meeting with the government. Gurkhas who retired before 1997 get around a quarter of the pension of their British counterparts, as their rates were based on the assumption they would return to their homeland, Nepal. The Gurkha veteran Deepak Masters said all they were seeking was fairness.
What we are asking is a pro rata pension. That is, if a British soldier gets £22 after retiring after 22 years, then a Gurkha soldier should get £15 on his retirement at 15-year points. We serve under the same rules, we wear the same uniform, we fight the same war.
BBC News.